So wait a second, you're telling me that within this intelligent design, and when I say intelligent design, I simply mean that no religion, no belief system, that there's an intentionality and purposefulness with designed outcomes in mind that influence what happens. And so, okay, so that said, you're telling me, Graham, that this intelligent design or the universe's algorithm, that this craziness that I see happening outside, you're telling me this is by design? Well, yes and no. You see, you know the movie, the Avatar movies, and you saw this beautiful, lush planet with connectivity and cooperation and magic. It was mystical. One could almost say a giant Garden of Eden. Animals and humans, all kinds of species working together in harmony. Yeah, that's how Earth was designed. That's what Earth was for. Well, what happened? Well, also like an Avatar, unfortunately, you saw these military folk that came. Well, and so yeah, throughout the Earth's history, right, there's been plenty of people that have come, so many way back when that came as guides and helps and teachers. And then there's some others that, not so much. And by the way, this isn't even the only universe. There's plenty of other universes that are out there as well. And they all have their own intelligent designs because everything is about developing a consciousness and continuing to foster its intelligence and wisdom. Whether that person or that entity chooses to put on an animal suit or a human suit or some other species, right? The short answer is that Earth's main problem is that it's full of people that are wanting to own that which is not theirs to own, to impose ways that are not wanted. And when you create that conflict, this is what happens. And while there is part of the living and learning process, right, where things are meant to ebb and flow, but we went from a world of cooperation to a world of people trying to control due to some visitors coming from some other places, which I'll get into here as we go. But the short answer is, how has all of that, affected us? Well, we went from having an Earth that was meant for all of the universe to enjoy, to one species deciding that, hey, Earth and its resources are here for us to own. How can this be? Well, look, part of this living and learning process is, again, free will. People have to make their own decisions and figure things out. Unfortunately, what has happened is that many of the governments, and by many, around 95% of them, have decided that Earth and its land and its inhabitants and its resources are theirs to own. But it's not. Not only is it not theirs to own, the ways that they're imposing are not wanted. They are in the opposite of the intelligent design. Humans, they certainly are not operating in the form of stewardship. That being said, the opposite is also true. When you learn how to operate inside of the intelligent design, and you learn how to operate in harmony, this craziness goes away. This anger, this fear, it all goes away. And there's cooperation, and there's enjoyment, and there is fun. And as opposed to a world of scarcity, there's more than enough to go around for everybody. So Graham, if there's an intelligent design, then that means there's a creator, a God, a divine, or something like that, whatever term somebody wants to use. How can they let these things happen? Right? I don't know. How can they let pain or whatever else? Well, look, these are all very good questions. And believe me, I have had a lot of these very difficult discussions with whatever you want to call the creator, divine, God, take your pick. And before I can get into that, I gotta back up the bus quite a bit to explain a little bit of some origins. Because first, this isn't the only universe, right? And there's also been a confusion between a creator and God, both the creator of this universe, this is a creator of the cosmos. So first, you understand there is a ultimate creator creator of the cosmos, and that cosmos then creates the various universes. And so all entities throughout all universes come from that same initial creator. And one of the nice things, regardless of the universe and regardless of everything is born out of love. Everything is created out of love, divine love, and for a purpose. Ooh, all right. Well, let's get into a little spicy one here. Okay. wait a second, Graham, if there's an intelligent design, and that means there's a creator of it or whatever, and that has been called various names or whatever, but why do they allow these things to happen? Well, first of all, how can you have free will and have somebody telling you, stopping what you're doing and not doing? All right. Those two things operate in conflict, number one. Number two, this concept of a biologic entity being a god or something overseeing or looking down or judging what is going on in humanity and making decisions on who gets what favor is not how it works. Now, challenges arise, though, when people that were born from one universe come into another universe and try to impose their ways and impose their reality. And that's one of the things that has happened here on Earth. And one of the things that's caused a lot of these problems. This universe's intelligent design is about learning how to operate inside of harmony. Where some other people came from, theirs was about understanding how to navigate chaos. When you're trying to navigate chaos, you focus more on figuring out how to create a sense of control within the chaos, which also then focuses on predictability and learning how to predict things. In harmony, it's about preparation, learning preparation and learning how to work in cooperation. So as you can see, those two things are definitely in conflict. And so you also, if you look around, you'll notice there's a lot of people here that are focused, that are very comfortable in the chaos. The origins of all of the humans on Earth are not all from Earth. Right? Let's not confuse it just because we all put on some human suits thinking that we all came from the same place. Right? Unfortunately, one of the things that also happened in time is that when people came from the chaos and came here to Earth, and by the way, why did they come here to Earth and why were they accepted? Well, it was because their ways blew up their old planet. Being all connected, these people needed a new place to stay. They said, hey, look, we recognize the error of our ways. How do we work this out of our system? And so some of them were welcomed here on Earth to learn. It was just like an avatar, right? You had another species come to the planet that operated out, that came and imposed their own realities. Right? And so what you see here in front of you today with animals, nature, resources, this is a product of what's been done to the planet. This is not a product of how it's supposed to be. And so you may say, well, hey, why don't we just round up these people, and get them out of here, right? I'm picturing, all of the village and their pitchforks, right, going to find Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. Let's get him out of here. Well, it doesn't work like that. As entities of consciousness, right? First of all, everything has been so intertwined and intertangled at this point in time, there is no separation of species. Number one. Number two, as part of the learning process and learning empathy on Earth, every consciousness takes a turn going through the various races and ethnicities as part of that learning process, as part of that stewardship. And so the key to winning this game, the key to bringing the world back is understanding how to navigate an existence of consciousness versus an existence of materialism. And that's some of the information that we're going to continue to cover here. One of the things that everybody's meant to be able to do here on Earth is to work things out of your system. Right? One of the ways of learning is not just things going your way, but it's also things not going your way. It's creating a hypothesis and then testing it. It's saying, I didn't like not fighting back. So let me see. What would it be like if I did fight back? And then when you do fight back, I think anybody that's ever actually fought back, depending on how they fought back, they've recognized that causing harm to somebody else never repairs what they were hoping to. That only happens through love. Let's not confuse things operating from a place of love with the universe, the earth, nature, anything with being a doormat. I'll give you this to think about and how you want to figure out, because love is one of those things you have to understand and experience and figure out for yourself. But these are some guiding principles that I will share with you about love. Love does not command. Love does not demand. It cannot be forced, and it does not obey. And happiness is defined as living a life of self-guided choices while being able to love yourself, all of Earth's inhabitants, and your surroundings. And so if you can use those two principles as a good check and balance system to guide yourself, on your learning journey. And does that mean it's okay for me to treat people like stuff or to do shitty things to people? No, not at all. But it does mean that there is a grace involved that we all agree to before we incarnate, that this is part of the deal and we're going to work this stuff out. Well, you say, well, Graham, how come I don't remember this stuff? Well, let me tell you, would you want to remember everything? All of the crappy stuff that you did in order to be able to learn and to get to this, and to develop and evolve? No. All right, Graham, so if love isn't a doormat, what kind of governance system then is there to try to keep things in place? Well, that's a constant, ongoing, and evolving thing that changes as Earth and its people go through their learning processes. But the one general rule that everybody is bound to is that you can take what you need to learn what you need to work stuff out of your system. However, you're going to give back 1% more than you took. And obviously, I can't explain everything that there is about Earth all in one time here in a matter of a few minute video. Series. So what I would encourage you to do, though, is to go then check out my podcast, which is Understand the Science of You, or the scienceofyoupodcast.com. And going through that and listening to that, we cover much more of the day-to-day, how to understand the universe is talking to you, how to understand gifts, how to understand wisdom, how to identify the synchronicities, to use your gifts and abilities to navigate everyday life. Now, I just want to remind you, so remember when I first started this, I said, hey, we're going through Earth is going through its own evolution and change. And so a lot of that evolution and change, it's probably much more appropriate to refer to it as justice through restoration, is the process that's occurring. So all of these things that I talked with you about people wanting to own that which is not theirs to own, to impose ways that are not wanted, well, this justice through restoration process is going to be unwinding that. And so I want to give you the information so that you can learn how to navigate these changes confidently and comfortably for yourself.